Yeah, in this video, we're talking about CSS3 backgrounds. So we'll start with creating our HTML structure. Then inside this our HTML, let's add the header one, h1 element. Then we'll add some text. And so let me say something like hello world, hello world, hello world. Okay, inside this place now. Okay, let me put it inside a container. Let me put inside a container, which is d. Let me put inside div. Okay, let me say div. Okay. Put it inside div. Okay, okay, it's now inside our div. Okay, okay, now our hello world element is inside our div, so we can now make use of div. Okay, now we'll link our external CSS because we're using external CSS. So if you don't know how to link your external CSS, go and watch my video on CSS in SAT and you see how to do that. Okay, so do link, link, that's right. Okay, it's now linked. Let me refresh our page to make sure it's working. Yeah, our server is running. Okay, now so inside our CSS now, what I will do here is that I want to illustrate with a CSS3 background that you can actually use, you can make this color transparent and then use the background color to fill in uh, the text. You use the text, you use the background color to fill in the text color, or you can actually use image. But first of all, you have to make the background, um, you have to make the text itself transparent. Okay, let's start by creating using div select, which is element selector, by using div. Then open our decoration block. Then inside this race, we now say color. Let's start with our text first. Let's disappear it. Let's give it a transparent value. Then another thing, let me just give it a font size. Is it really necessary now? So it will be a little big. It will be big a little bit so that it can actually see the background color or image that will be placed behind it. Okay, let's give it a, let me say font size. Font size inside this font size. Let me just give it 2 em, or let me say 2.5 em. Okay, then let me give it let me make the text align in the center. We will not actually see what we are doing until, okay, you know what, I really need us to be seeing what we are doing. Let me just remove I will do the transparent letter so that you will see what we are doing. Let's just leave the text the way it is. Okay, okay, let's just leave the text this way so it will be visible. So when after we have done creating, then we'll now disappear it, and then it will now, you will now see the background color from, you will now see the background color through this text. Okay, this, I made this thing 5 em. It's too much. Let me make it how about 2.5? Yeah, I think 2.5 make a little bit sense. Okay, so the next thing I will do, I will be adding, if I, this is the font size. If I do test align now, I have not created the div. I'm not giving the div the width and its size. Okay, let me do that before I give it, before I align the text. Let me say something like width. Width, let me give it let me say 400 pixels. Let me see how it looks like, the width. Okay, still normal. Let me give it height. How about the height? How about, let me give it 400 pixels. Okay. Let me see. Let me use background color. Let me see how. Let me say background color. Let me see the full shape of the div and know what I'm doing here. Let me use blue color and see how it looks like. Okay, here is our div. This is our div box. Okay, I'll still remove this our background color and replace it with image if I want. Okay, the next I'll be adding, I will be adding fonts. Let me align the text in the center. Let me say text align. Let me text align center. So the text will move to center. Okay. Now here's what, that's the next thing. For now, if I remove this, if I give the text color, which is this text hello world, a transparent here, this our background color will disappear. You will see the background color through this our text. Okay, let me just do that. Let me add that transparent. No, not yet. I still need to add some property before that to work. So let me add those properties. Okay. So the next thing I'll be adding, should I really add this thing border? Does the border really matter here? It does not matter because if I add border now, okay, so the text will be inside the border, but how will it does it really make sense? Uh, Actually, let me just add it. Let me just add it because yes, I think it's important because if I add border, when the background color will disappear, you will know the we will still see our box. The border will give us the shape of our box. Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good idea. So let me say border. Let me give this border. Let me say one pixel, one pixel. This one piece, let me give it insert and see what it look like. Insert is not even visible, self. It's not visible. How about solid? How about let me say solid. Uh, Solid. One pixel is too small. It's too small. Let me make it 2 pixels. About 3 pixel, 4 pixel, 5 pixel, 6, 7. How about 8? Let's leave it at 9. I think 9 is more visible. Then let me use that insert. I think that insert. Let me see how that insert will look like. Insert. If I use this insert now, then give it a color of, let me say something like a gray color. Let me see what it will look like. I think it looks a little bit nice. Okay, okay. It looks nice. This is just the shade behind it. This is the insert background styling. Okay. So having done that, the next thing I will add, let me add padding. If I add padding now, does it really make sense? Should I really add padding? Is it really necessary? Let me leave that padding. It's of no use. Or should I add it? Everything is fitted now. I don't need any. Let me leave padding. Let me add another thing. Let me just add. Then there's another thing I'll add background repeat. There's this thing called background. If you add background, like when you are, normally does with image. If you not put background repeat and use the image that is not big enough to fit in or to cover the whole browser, what it will do, it will just duplicate those images in such a way that they will fill up the page. Okay, they just fill up the page. Okay, but what we want to put background no repeat, so something will not happen because all we have to do, we just want to work within this our div. The image is not going outside this our div, just within this our div. So let's say background background no repeat, background repeat. Then inside it we put no repeat. Okay, no repeat. Okay, that one is done. Okay, then what we have to, I will have to add a background creep to creep our text. I think let's use that. Then we set it to test, creep our test, set it to test. Okay, then the next thing we add, we use WebKit background creep. Okay, let's say you always remember to put your hyphen. Then WebKit background, put another hyphen background for this background creep. Here is it. Okay, now let's also give it a value of test. Where is the test? Let me type it. Say test. Okay, okay, I think I'm done now. Okay, so it's automatically disappear our image, which is not what we really want for now, because we want to add image. Okay, so let's see what happens. Here's our hello world. Okay, you can see the insert, how the despite the background image is disappeared, we still see our this thing, what is it called, our our border line. Okay, so let's put transparent here and see what happened. Let's put transparent. You can see what happened now. Okay, let me clean it and explain. Let me explain. You can see this now. When we put this test, and then this test, this background creep and web kit background creep, what it does is that it remove everything within the div and leaves only the test. This test now that you are seeing, and by default the test have a color of black. Okay, we not add any color to the test here. Okay, so it leave it at default, which is black. Let's add color. Let's say something like red inside this our color. It will be red. Okay, so let's screen it. And what we want to achieve here is that we want to use background image, and we'll see our background image through these tests here. This through this hello world, we'll see our background image. Okay, so what we now do, if we add transparent here to make this test transparent, this background is still there, but you will not see it. Once we put transparent, this is just behind this hello world. Okay, so let's do the transparent. Let's say transparent. You can see hello world now. The reason why you're seeing this blue color is because the blue color is our background. Okay, our background is hidden behind this, and you cannot see it once you have added this background creep and then WebKit background decrypt. It will just remove. You will not see the background. You can only see it through the text you add in this WebKit background creep. Okay, so in doing this now, I want to add image to the background so we can see it through this our hello world. What we have to do now is to um, if we add something like background, no, let me come back here inside this background. Let me remove this. That's something that I observe that if you are okay, let me do it for before I will talk about it. Let me inside this background, let me add url. Let me put our this thing for receiving this thing. I observe something now inside this. Once I do external css, this is my external css. Inside this, if I want to add image through by external css, most of the time it's not most of the I've not seen it work before. Okay, I've not seen it work before. So like now I want to put image inside this I want to add image to this css now through this pattern. The thing is showing me a lot, it cannot work. Okay, so what I will have to do now, what I've been doing and what I've been doing is to bring out this particular property and then put it inside this HTML, inside inline, create an inline styling here and add it, or I copy this whole style and put it inside the styling what is it called, inside the styling inside, and make this div, this whole style here, make it internal by creating a style element below the header, I mean before the closing tag of header, and then paste it there before I can be able to add the image. I'll just grab this only, I will just grab only this property and then put it there. So let me just do that. Let me grab this background property. Let me cut it out. Okay, let me cut it out. Let me come inside this my HTML, and then inside this my HTML, let me say style inside the style body. What I will now add, I will now paste that code that I code, which is this background and the URL. So with this now, why is it showing me white? I'm supposed to recognize it. Why is it showing me white? Okay, it's showing me white because I have not added the element selector. So I will input the this div, and then open the declaration block. Then I can now add the code inside. So Control V, it will now be visible. So if I do the same thing now, the way I want to select my image now, dot slash, it will bring out the image. See, so I can only select image through HTML, not inside external CSS. Okay, so let me select one image, and just for illustration, let me use laptop image. This laptop, okay, it's supposed to is not supposed to do this. I think I put no repeat here. Why is it? Let me type something here. It says, let me just. You can see that. You can see the image. Let me remove this no repeat so the image will spread, so you can see the down one because the image is too small. You can see this now. You can see how the image. You can see the image. You can see through this text. Okay. The image is right behind the text, so you can see the image through this text. Okay, so this practice, if you can observe, you see that when I add this now, when I add this image, let me change another image so you understand what I'm saying. When I add this image, let me add another image, say dot slash another image. Let me say this number 6. I don't know what it is. Let me just add it. This is the image. As you can see this image now, uh the reason why I think the reason what I think the reason why I'm saying this like this is because this is internal CSS. So the external CSS first run this code, not actually run it, as in kind of it sees this as the first priority because it's too close to the to the element, so it sees it first. So when I tap, if I tap this place, that is when this element will now inherit this one. Okay, I don't know why it's so slow, but if I tap it now and just say something here, let me say something before it will inherit it the other side. Okay, so but if I copy this whole code here, let me grab this my let me remove let me delete this one. Actually, I will not delete it. Let me cut this my image, not this one. Let me copy this, let me cut it. I will cut it, this one, and then delete this div. Let me delete it. I want to copy this my CSS code, this my external CSS, and bring it inside this our what is it called, inside this our styling here, to make it an internal. We will not be having that issue, it will just work straight away. So I will just cut it and then paste it inside here. Let me I forgot to add that div, let me just type it manually. Okay, inside this, then I will now paste it. Okay, then by pasting it, I will now add that property. Let me add that background, which is that background image, background, just background, and then put URL for paths, URL. Then I will now locate the image. Then I will use image. I just want to use image number 6. Okay, you can see that just automatically the thing just appears. Okay, even if I refresh the page now, you can see it automatically reflects. Okay, so this is how this thing works. If I do it externally, it will not really work, but once I use it inside, it will actually work. Okay, so this is what I want to illustrate in this what's it called, in this css CSS3 background. You can actually add, let me see whether if I add pseudo to this, what it will look like. Let me say something like transition duration. This one is not part of what we're doing, but I just want to see whether it will work. You can add that. Let me say, let me say something like 2 seconds. Let me see what will happen to it. 2s, not add the full this. Then let me say, I will close this, I'll come outside this block, create another block, and then say div pseudo class. Let me just use hover. Let me see what will happen. Let me see whether let me just see what will happen inside this hover. Let me say font size. Let me just change only the font size and see what's happened. Font size, let me just say what we have in by default is what is our normal is 2.5. Let me do it, let me reduce it. Maybe when I hover it, I'll reduce it to, let me say 1.25, which is half of that too. Say 1.25 EM. Okay, let me see what happens. Well, it still works, so it's working, it's actually working perfectly. You can see that, but I can actually increase it to, let me say, double of it, but it will be too big. It's too big. Okay, you can see that. Okay, this is not part of what you're doing, but I just want to add it to show that. So you can also use pseudo class with it. Okay, and you see the functionality. Okay, so that is it for CSS3. This CSS3, this is advanced CSS that have its own have additional property. Then I forget to add one some. I want to add another thing again. You can add multiple background image. You can add multiple background image by doing this. Inside this, after you close your parameter, for URL, you can put comma and then put another URL again, put another URL and then insert another image. Insert another image. Let me see whether I can do that now. Just put any image here. Just use this one. You can insert any other image. The reason why you will not see this image here is because this image, all of them are almost the same size. If you want to try this thing out by adding another image, double image in the back, you can add multiple image in the back. But I, I think my suggestion is to use image that is very small, like use one that is as big as this one, like a wallpaper. Then you now use another image that is like an icon, like icons. Okay, that's where you can easily add it. It will just display on top this one, but this one, all of them are the same things too. This one will not go behind this one. That's why you cannot see it through this thing. So that's what I want to say in this video. This is CSS3 CSS3 background. CSS3 is an advanced CSS. Okay, is what differentiates it from other is that it has some few additional few functionalities that other ones do not have, ordinary CSS do not have. Okay, so thank you for watching. See you in the next video.